Thank you for joining this session, a panel discussions on a very interesting topic, the next frontiers for India and Sweden, harnessing AI and Industry 4.0 to have an accelerated growth, and at the same time, meeting the sustainability goals. The economic relationship between India and Sweden has been having a fantastic growth over these years and driven by technology and innovation. In today's world, the temperatures, global warming is still a hot topic for all of us. We as a world, we are not still able to limit our global warming towards 1.5 degree. And in such a situation, it becomes imperative for countries to come together and address the sustainability challenges. As two leading nations, Sweden and India, can leverage their collective strengths to deliver accelerated growth and at the same time help in sustainable growth. And with the emergence of newer technologies like AI, Industry 4.0, we have immense potentials to have collaborate and harness these technologies advances. So today, to discuss this, we have with us Åsa Gabrielsson, Vice President, Research and Development at Epiroc, CRISTIANO, FERREIRA, Director Automations from ESAB, Ola RIGNELL, Senior Advisor, FAMAB, and ASHISH KHUSHU, who is going to be joining, okay, I can see ASHISH, Chief Technology Officer for L&T Technology Services. So to begin with, let's go for a round of self-introduction, but at the same time, if I may request you to answer the first questions of these sessions. Out of all these shiny new technologies which is coming up, according to you, what is the most promising in Sweden context? So Ola, if I may request you to go first.
Hi, first of all, I want to say thank you and great to be here. My background, I work as Vice President Research and Development within Epiroc, and we are one of the global leaders providing mining equipment, ensuring electrification. And why is that? I will come back on that. I have a background also from Volvo and ABB. So I worked in several of the Swedish global industrial companies with origin from Sweden. You asked about the sciences that are most important for Sweden, Scandinavia, but I also want to connect with the global development. I mentioned one of them. I mentioned electrification. I mean, we know the planet needs solutions, and we need different power sources and infrastructure to deal with the challenges we have. So I would say electrification, but with that, it also comes with the technology development we are at. We have a lot of technologies are much more embedded today than they were in the past. So what has been success factors for several companies up to date will not remain going forward. So we need to work much more integrated with hardware, software, and of course also using the advantages in AI and other digital solutions. So with that said, I hand over to
maybe Cristiano.
You.
Good afternoon, Cristiano Ferreira. Pleasure to be here. As we have this opportunity to talk about Sweden and India, I want to introduce before myself. I'm head of the innovation team for ESAB once it comes to automation. ESAB, for those that doesn't have the background of the company, was founded in Sweden in 1904, so with a strong DNA once it comes to solving customer problems and, let's say, bringing new technologies to the welding industry. And after more than 100 years, we're still with this DNA in the company. And it's really, let's say, great to be here because ESAB has a great opportunity once it comes to the network of collaboration. We have this foundation in Sweden, as I said, but has been growing the business around the world. And India is one of our main, let's say, hubs today once it comes to manufacturing and also R&D. I have been working at ESAB for more than 20 years in new product development environment for shipyard, renewable energy, automotive. So a lot of place where it goes in terms of welding. ESAB is the top player around the world once it comes to welding. And this connection between Sweden and India has been a big enabler for ESAB. As our colleague also mentioned that new technologies are emerging, and the welding industry, we are a little bit conservative once it comes to bringing new technologies to the front, but we are trying to reuse a lot of technology that are available nowadays in Sweden. One of the key points for us is about connectivity. I was talking during lunch today. We have a small joke at ESAB that in the last 5 years, our welding machines are, let's say, more or less computers that can also weld. And it's a big challenge for us because we have been mainly driven by like mechanical engineers and really focus on metallurgic. And suddenly we need to develop a lot of software-driven products. And India has been a big player for us on that, where we have like an extended arm of our talent engineers. We have a big center in Chennai working close to the engineers in Sweden, in Gothenburg. So this is a good journey for us, and I'm happy to be here today and talk about that experience from the welding industry.
Thank you. Ola, please.
Well, namaskar everyone, or namaste. My name is Ola Rignell. I have the privilege to work for one of the holding companies of the Wallenberg family called FAM AB. So within our holdings, we have companies like SKF, Höganäs Munters, Nefab, IPCO, and of course Stora Enso. But the first 5, everyone except Stora Enso is actually present in India today. And they have a fairly big operation in India. SKF celebrated 100 years in India earlier this year. Of course, we would like to expand our footprint in India. We would also like to have more of our holdings doing business in India, and I think we have some really interesting technologies that we could, share and jointly develop in India. And based on that, I wouldn't like to, highlight just one technology. Personally, I think that there are many technologies from energy, from digitalization, AI, that we need to combine to get a very competitive business going forward, and also to develop the cooperation between India and Sweden. So I think I'll stop there.
Yeah, interesting. And last but not the least, ASHISH, if I may request you to introduce yourself.
Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is ASHISH KUSHU. I'm the Chief Technology Officer in L&T Technology Services based out of Bangalore. Primarily, the charter that I carry is ensuring that there is more than enough innovation activities happening across the organization, because that's where we get our ideas and our roadmap from. And second is I'm also responsible for charting out the technology roadmap for our organization. What are the areas where we need to invest to build competencies and demonstrators and deliver value to our customers? 2 points as a part of the introduction. One is that as an organization, while we provide engineering services and there's a huge investment and focus on new technologies, as a culture, we have been able to drive home a point to all our employees, and sometimes are able to convince our customers as well, that new technologies need to be subservient to the verticals or to the industries. The industry use cases and industry business problems come first. Applicability of the right technologies come later. And that has been the motto in terms of how we invest. And that is the way I think it has to be in the future. While we all do get enamored by new technologies, we have to keep in mind that they serve the purpose of a particular industry, of a particular business use case. And second, the second point which is a corollary to that, is what Ola mentioned, that more than a single technology causing problems or causing disruption or causing change, it is convergence of multiple technologies. That is a challenge as we go forward. And this is the way we are driving our capacity building or competency building, if I may, in how to grapple with new technologies as we go forward in doing business with our customers. Thank you and look forward.
Excellent. So, I mean, then before we get into the technology and divergence of technology or convergence of technologies, let's maybe spend a few minutes on economy. Nordics, among Nordics, Sweden is the largest in GDP, more than $635 billion and 10.4 million population. But not only that, Sweden is one of those, has very significant, I think 3 to 4% of Sweden's GDP is invested into research and development and innovation. So now, for this industrial powerhouse, to further solidify your presence, I mean, your presence in the global world, what you think we should be doing in Sweden? So maybe start with you, because you have an interesting perspective across the broad set of companies from the FAM.
Okay, thank you. Well, from FAM's perspective, since we are a holding company and all the different holding companies of the Wallenberg family is based on the betterment of Swedish society. So all the dividend that we are generating from our different holding comes back into the foundations, and then they divest roughly 80% of all the dividends back to academia, to interesting technology programs, and to thesis in different universities. And I think that is a way forward, and I think that is one of the reasons why Sweden has been so successful over the years. To continue, I think we need to also get more talent and more diversity from abroad. We are actually not getting all the engineers that we want being educated in Sweden these days. So I think we need to attract Indian engineers. And in the same manner, we should try to promote Swedish engineers to actually go abroad, because they need to understand that Sweden is just a very, very small part of the international society today. But I think we still are, on the top of when it comes to technologies. So that would be my conclusion.
So top in the research and technology.
Yes, but you need to get more talent and more people.
Ola, you? Osa?
Yes, I can fill in on that. From Epiroc, we work a lot with having open system solutions. And if I can elaborate on that, to have an open system that can be within our products that we are working in-house, and also attracting other suppliers and working with global competences in that. Sweden as a nation, we are too small to think we have everything contained in our nation. So we work a lot in the global context, and also with other global suppliers such as your company. And we can see, as our main customers are in the mining industry, we can also see that the larger mine houses around basically all continents, they are also part of this journey, and are also realizing that with their mining organizations, they need to be able to have open system with the connectivity, with the different suppliers, enabling ideally the green metals and minerals that we need for the electrification and all that going back. So to reach out and be able to collaborate, I think that as we usually say, partnership is the new leadership, and I believe in this very strongly.
Cristiano, any views?
Yeah, just to highlight, I think they already mentioned the core, the word of collaboration and diversity. Definitely, I'm a good example. I was saying to them during lunch, I'm from Brazil. I didn't say that. Of course, Brazil and India, we have a lot of similarities. We can talk about that in another opportunity, but this environment where Sweden is bringing, let's say, different talent and then embracing this journey of being, let's say, open to different communities and let's say, making people feel welcome here and then making this level of, let's say, next level of industrial collaboration. I think this is the key for Sweden, and happy to be part of this journey, of course. A lot has happened. As I mentioned, I have been part of the ESAB transformation once it comes to collaboration in the last 10, 15 years. And Sweden has been definitely a key enabler on that, where core technologies are available here, and we have been able to connect to that and then make it available to the weld industry around the world.
Ashish, I'll come back to you in a minute on the same topic, but it is interesting that this is actually my next topic I want to get into, that is the dipping into the collaborations in India and Sweden. Now, technology and innovations are the bedrock for the relationships we have between India and Sweden, and both these countries, we are seeing joint collaborations in JAP, the Joint Innovation Partnerships, Made in India, and several other initiatives Sweden and India are working together. Now, just to go deep dive into that, how we can deepen this relationship and leverage each other's strengths to achieve common business goal. Maybe we start with Ashish in that case.
I think the answer is in continuation to what the panel members just talked of in the earlier to the earlier question. I think small is beautiful, right? So it's not a question of being small, but if you look at the knowledge economy, the folks that are the folks that are really sitting on top of a lot of influence are the people in the valley, Silicon Valley, and all they control is the IP, and they've forged tremendous amount of networks across different type of businesses for manufacturing, for design, but they retain the control on the IP. That's really the strength. If you look at what Sweden has from a perspective of somebody watching it from outside, it has fantastic brands. It has fantastic historical legacy in various industries where, you've got complete dominance of certain technology in certain sectors. Sweden also tops in innovation in some of these segments. So the corollary is the same. If you have the IP, you have a situation in the global market as it emerges to be a leader in certain segments. And for that, as somebody mentioned, you have to forge partnerships of different kinds. And it need not only be for skill, but for across the spectrum. I think what we bring from India is, as I mentioned earlier in the day, is aspirational demography. A set of folks who are ready to work hard to make a place for themselves under the sun. And of course, skill availability is there. Money is being put in terms of innovation, etc., etc. But when it comes to pure play innovation, we are way, way behind in terms of what Sweden and other countries have to offer. A combination of the innovation IP that Swedish companies bring to the table, powered by skills and capabilities of Indian engineers, could take the innovation and IPs that Swedish companies have to offer to the larger global market. I think that's the combination that works very well, because there's a lot of match at the economic level, at the cultural level, at the aspiration level, and even and a lot of support from various institutions and governments. So that's a fantastic opportunity that presents itself. And I remember, it's been 35 years for me working, and I remember starting my career in Pune, and there's a road from Pune to Bombay. And on both sides of the road, the first thing that would come to your mind is all these brands that are Swedish brands. So they've been present in India for a long time. There's a lot of trust and confidence that the two countries have in certain areas. So there's a lot of synergy and an opportunity that presents itself for both the countries to work together. And that, to my mind, is a natural fit.
And you have been, Ola, quite extensively working towards expanding into the relationship between the Indian and Sweden collaborations. You want to add anything?
Well, I would say like this, that of course collaboration is important, and there are talent, there are pools of people with high education. There is one, I think, key feature in India that we should be envious about, and that is actually the amount of connectivity. Because I think connectivity will be one of the drivers going forward to actually, expand your business. And I'm sure there is someone from Ericsson here today, and Ericsson and Nokia are putting up, I think, 15,000 mobile stations every month each. Imagine what that connectivity will do for the development of Indian society, but also for Indian industry and Indian finance. So I think that is one really good example where we can collaborate. Secondly, I think we can collaborate on sustainability. Maybe I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but sustainability might sound like there is a burden on your shoulders. Our view is that it's an opportunity. We are actually doing something within all our holdings now that we call future proofing, where we look into 7 different areas. One is sustainability, and the second one is digitalization. There are 5 more, but these are the 2 that we focus on right now. And I think India and Sweden can learn from each other on sustainability issues. We can definitely learn from each other on digitalization.
You want to add anything also?
Yeah, I can add on here then on the connectivity. And I mean, today, opportunities for global collaboration, they haven't been better, and they will only improve with the connectivity we have and with our different tools. I mean that you are able to participate here. It could be like you are sitting in the sofa, ASHISH. So I think we are doing great here, and we are doing great in our different industrial companies also in this, with our management teams meetings, with our project meetings. In my organization, we have several of the development projects taking place in the VR tool, where you actually are in the new equipment that you are developing. And we are, as you all understand, we are inviting service technicians, future operators, etc., to be inside the equipment and take part of that. And we also then going forward, we have simulator trainings, etc., for the future operators. So we have a lot of new tools. So I think it's only to continue to explore and dare to test the new opportunities here for the global collaboration.
CRISTIANO?
Yeah, good topic here. And as we have seen in the Epiroc case, is the same on the welding industry. A lot of opportunities once it comes to new tools and new collaboration environment. I'll give an example from what Ola said about, for example, sustainability. In the welding environment, maybe we don't think about that, but I'll give an example. One of our main customers or applications today is about, like, for example, wind farms, like the wind tower manufacturers. And there, as we discussed it here, a lot happen now. What you can do from a simulation point of view, like you have like the full, let's say, production line being simulated and making sure that you have all, let's say, preliminary work being validated before you do the actual job. And of course, these are, as I mentioned, a major challenge for the welding industry to bring technologies from other industries, like, for example, AI and what we can learn, where we don't need to, let's say, weld a lot. Like, for example, in the wind tower, you have, let's say, long history of making, like, let's say, real mechanical tests, but now we want to do a lot virtual reality checks before we do this check. And for us, it has been quite intensive journey in the last 2-3 years, because we need to accelerate that, and then we are learning that this is something that we cannot really, let's say, do by ourselves. And I definitely see this becoming, let's say, more and more a great, let's say, environment for this Swedish contest, where a lot of other industries compared to the welding has already been investing time and money on that. So we, for those that doesn't know where ESAB, let's say the technical center is located, we are in Gothenburg, in the Lindholm area, where a lot of, let's say, technology, let's say, is being developed on this field, and we are, let's say, glad to be in this core front here in Sweden.
Interesting. So, I mean, if I just extend these conversations, I mean, I'll come to this sustainability in a few minutes, but connectivity is getting us in a next level of productivity. Sweden has a long traditions of being excellency in manufacturing, mining, and a few other industries. How you see the industrial automations, because automations brings into efficiencies and make you more competitive. How you see the level of automations in Swedish industry now compared to the world's best? How you rate it, Åsa?
I think there are selected islands where we are really, really good, and then in some other areas we are lagging behind.
And your perspective?
Well, for those of you who didn't listen, there was a previous panel regarding traffic safety, and I think automation will come to a point where we can actually do other things than focusing on traffic or focusing on welding, or for that reason flying an aircraft or driving a ship. So automation is definitely something that we will focus on going forward. But on the other hand, we also need to find a good match between automation and manual work.
ASHISH, your views?
I agree. Sorry?
I was talking about the industrial automations and how that can keep Swedish industries still on the cutting edge in the world.
I would not be able to comment on how it can keep them on the cutting edge. I mean, they are the experts and they know their industry the best. But when we look at the type of investments that we've made based on various industries and various segments, very, very clearly, it is the automation, the area of automation, which will get, which will leverage new tools like AI a lot more. There is no two doubt about it. Because, there is data available, there are defined processes which is available, you know what the output you want. There are many, many finite variables because of which automation is where AI will come in a very, very big way. And that's happening. Having said that, it's also important to know that AI intervention in automation, which will help in accuracies and shorter time to complete your product validation, etc., is not, in my view, going to take away jobs. It will assist people and jobs will move to some other areas. I believe, personally, professionally, as well as on behalf of the company, that this is what is going to happen. AI is going to aid people to do their jobs better. And in automation, that is the first area where you will see a significant return on investments. We have done some pilots. We've worked with certain customers, and we have seen accuracies go up to 90%, and therefore freeing up people to do more and a more productive job in some other areas. I'm sure there is a lot happening in the organizations that are getting represented here, as well as who are there in the room itself. So they know how to do it the best.
Interesting. Coming back to a bit on the sustainable electrifications, we touched a little bit, or clean energy, which is your pet topic. I do understand. Now, EY is talking about 41% of all cars produced in Sweden between 2022 to 2026 will be electric models. Now, this transitions of electrifications or clean energy, how it is transforming the various different industries apart from the automobile. Maybe start with you, because you are very passionate on this topic and you are investing as a group.
Well, we are really interested in clean energy and the green transition. And within our holdings, we have several companies that are basing their overall process on hydrogen. I think personally that the EV vehicles will definitely come. Will that be the only salvation to mankind? Definitely no. I think we will have a mix of hydrogen. There have been previous speakers today alluding to it. And I'm convinced that hydrogen, be it in cars, ships, trucks, or even aircrafts, is definitely one thing where we will see a huge development the next 10 years. And we are trying to be on the forefront of that technology together with our different partners. So hydrogen, yes, EV, yes, but it's going to be a mixture.
Interesting. And for your industry, because that's a heavy industry, mining as a massive equipments, how you see the transitions towards cleaner energy or electrifications?
Well, first of all, I can say Epiroc as a company, we are committed to science-based targets, as I think the audience is well aware of what that means. And a lot of our customers are also fully committed to transfer to CO2-free mining and go into green mining. So when we talk about underground mines, where I work, just a comment there, surface fuel cells, etc., can be very much, so to say, a needed technology. Underground, we don't see today that the safety can be ensured using fuel cell technology. So we can, once again then, taking a global outlook, we can see we have a great development in India, in the India society. We can also, if I can compare to other countries, China as one example, where we have every third new car that is sold is an electrical car. And Australia, where I visited, which I visited only a couple of weeks ago, we don't have the same development, and I can see that the demand from our mine customers is definitely mirroring the development that is in the society of the country or the continent. So we can see in Scandinavia, Canada, South Africa, also China, we have a strong interest, and also in some countries in South America, whereas others where you could imagine there would be a stronger interest in electrification, we are not there yet. So all in all, as in many technologies, we need to be able to balance and build the infrastructure in the respective regions together with maturing technology and maturing customers alongside the technology development.
That's a very interesting perspective, how society demands that technology saves for the industry. Interesting.
Yeah, and let me just pitch in. I mean, it's not electrification alone. Yeah. It's automation also. It's how to build safe workplaces. It's how to also have more efficient workplaces. Going back there to the AI technology that we talked about earlier.
Cristiano, your views on electrifications or clean energy?
Yes, a good connection for us here. Believe it or not, there is a quite big synergy once it comes to electrification in other industries, to the welding industry. ESAB just recently launched, like a month ago, our first battery-driven welder. And why we are doing that? One of the main reasons, of course, the batteries are becoming more and more powerful and available, and we found a good opportunity, as we said here, about being more efficient. And one example, we're able, where in some areas you need to access, like remote locations where the power is not available in the grid, so you can just carry a machine with, let's say, hand tools battery. We did a collaboration, again, with the Volt. ESAB launched a welding machine that you can use a hand tool battery from the Volt and just connect that to the ESAB machine. And there you can, like say, weld and do some maintenance in remote locations, like in pipe, let's say, lines, and let's say, in locations where energy is not available. And there is, like we heard at the beginning, not choose to use the technology just for the sake of the technology being available, but solving some real customer problems and making life a little bit easier and safe. So it's really good connection for us. And for those that are interested, it's called ESAB Volt. If you Google that, you see it was recently launched a product on that.
Interesting. ASHISH, your views on electrifications, green technologies?
So, combination of whatever has already been said, but at a larger level, agree with Asa, because for us as well, science-based target commitment is the way to start. It's very defined. It gets you to commit to what you want to do over a period of time, and then it also allows you to break it up into various initiatives. And it's just not automation, as she said. It's also various other places where you can have intervention, alternate materials, digital twin, as Cristiano was referring to, additive manufacturing, the whole works. But coming to EV, and that's an area where we work a lot, I think one of the big challenges that we face is the battery disposal strategy, recycle strategy, second life strategy. That requires a humongous amount of attention in terms of complexities because of the volumes. If you go by some statistics, they say 50% of the vehicles that will be sold in 2030 would be EVs. Now, approximately about 100 million gets sold. And if you are looking at that number of the lifetime of a car and take it at 7 years, you can imagine the number of vehicles in 2030 which are EV, and there'll be a huge volume of batteries that would be available which would have exhausted. So I think that's an area that has to be handled and has to be addressed a lot more. Whereas hydrogen is concerned, again, agree with Ola, that's a very good alternative. But primarily coming back to this one issue of what does one do when you have humongous amount of batteries available, disposal, reuse, second life is a huge issue that needs to be addressed. And the solutions have to be found fairly fast for that.
So we have time for the last topic, which is very interesting, and we have already touched upon the talent conversations. So Generation Z is kind of the group which is going to drive and build on the digital skills. 2030, in Sweden, all able-bodied people, 32% will be Generation Z people. Are you seeing the Sweden currently moving towards a skill emergency? 30 seconds each.
Well, I alluded to earlier, I think we are not attracting enough people to the engineering sector. We need more engineers to keep our competitive edge. But I would also like to add that the young generation, they want companies to be interesting to work with. They want them to be sustainable. They will not work for an old, excuse the word, dirty industry. They want to have state of the art. And that is actually one of the other 5 sectors that we look into when it comes to future-proofing. That is, how do we attract talent? And how do we keep talent? Because it takes some time to get into each company's nitty-gritty details.
Åsa, your views?
Yeah, I agree with you there on what's the purpose of the company to build that story, but also attract more of the young persons. And with that said, we need engineering skills, but we also need other skills. Human sciences, we need to integrate different skill sets to be able to say, create the society that we want to live in.
I agree, and of course, for us in the welding industry, it's a bigger challenge because through the history, welding has been connected with like fumes, in terms of like being dark and danger, and then of course, from everything that we just talked this afternoon here, we are getting the opportunity to be a little bit more clear on the mission. We need to weld, yes, but with all these technologies, I mean, we have this clear opportunity. The future welders that will be working with our, let's say, technologies are these persons that nowadays are really, let's say, used to mobile phone and they want to be more connected. So it's a win-win situation that, and ESAB is definitely, let's say, driving this mindset.
ASHISH?
Absolutely agree. The government of India has come out with a very interesting policy called the National Education Policy, which addresses how to address certain issues concerning syllabus and curriculum. But I hope CII takes this message back and lobbies with the government on how our educational system needs to be aligned to to what is required by certain certain important countries. That slant of what is required to excel at the global stage, to work with organizations which are there in Sweden, somehow should get embedded into our education policy for this gap to be bridged quickly. The first step has been taken in terms of a quality of curriculum, which is far better now, and teaching methodologies, etc., etc. But the second part is very important, and that can be a huge, huge accelerator for cementing ties and growing.
Interesting conversations, and time flies. So just to conclude, I think very interesting topics we talked about. We talked about convergence of technologies and the set of technologies to make it the enterprises more productive, efficient, and being on the cutting edge. We talked about a bit around the electrifications, green technologies. Not one unique technology, but how a combinations of technologies and enable technologies like AI take us to this next leap of innovations. And the people front. Nothing can be possible unless we attract the best talents, we keep them motivated, create a working environment which makes talents more excited and proud to be working on the engineering world. Thank you so much for your time and joining us in the interactive sessions. Glad to have you here. Thank you, Ashish, and thank you all. Have a great day.